For centuries, human societies have categorized the female paradigm as a property, evaluating it primarily as a biological and aesthetic asset. Within dominant Western traditions, the woman has historically been cast as the other, a non-subject and a non-agent, whose selfhood is systematically subordinated. This one-dimensional metric focuses on the superficial terrain, recording the external map of beauty, warmth, and physical curves, while remaining blind to the actual destination. Feminist philosophers have long diagnosed this error, highlighting the systematic diminishment of agency in favor of a fragmented physical record. Relying on this flat perspective creates a severe intellectual limit, trapping human potential in a superficial read and blinding organizations to their ultimate objectives. The cost of this reductionist trap is systemic. Reducing a woman to a single dimension shreds the sovereignty of modern relationships, corporate organizations, and entire nations. To survive massive modern transitions, we must apply the logical framework of Victor Prince Dickson, the transformer. Dickson identifies the woman as a nuclear reactor of human singularity. Her true architecture operates through three measurable concentric rings of power. This blueprint synthesizes ethical logic, anthropological observation, and precise structural mathematics into a single cohesive model. Surviving global chaos requires institutions to abandon the flat map and begin engaging the architect of human potential. The first concentric ring of power is the biological base. This primordial base holds a specific atomic weight comprised of the variables INS plus INT, representing properties of physical grace, warmth, and beauty. This base functions through discernment, a 4 billion-year gut intelligence that operates independently of fragmented historical medical models. This gut intelligence processes environmental signals at a visceral level, utilizing cellular memory to distinguish life-sustaining forces from destructive ones. This physiological filter between good and evil enables the 3D woman to navigate the physical world with a moral precision that precedes conscious thought. Anthropology confirms that the body is an active agent of perception and the existential ground from which all culture is built. This biological base provides the foundation for moral response and human connectivity within any functioning system. The architecture expands into a second concentric ring, the cognitive soul. The variables of this cognitive nucleus are IDE, PRB, MTV, and IMG. This dimension radiates properties of loyalty, love, and a fierce faith in achieving the impossible. The executive power of the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex drives the core function of judgment. This judgment operates to generate value in spaces where none previously existed. This mirrors a dismantling the myth of the isolated, hyper-rational individual. We find a dynamic, relational self operating within a dense network of interconnectivity. The cognitive soul deploys an ethics of care and relational autonomy that repairs social bonds and empowers communities. The final, outermost ring is the teleological spirit. This dimension holds wombic power, the generative energy required to carry, nurture, and propagate ideas and life. It is defined by the teleological norm, RK max, and the gift, labeled G. These forces culminate in the ultimate function of reverence. This dimension acts as the gateway to the human space. Nothing enters human existence unless this spirit permits it. This mirrors emancipatory eros, a powerful generative energy that actively resists and repels the systemic forces of oppression. This energy revitalizes society by transforming generative potential into future-shaping action. The teleological spirit provides the trajectory that ultimately shapes the future of human organizations. Engaging all three dimensions simultaneously activates the universal formula for wisdom, or W3D. Mathematically, the sum of the body and soul is raised to a power and multiplied by the spirit dimension. This yields the conditional output, T is greater than or equal to E. This represents psychological equilibrium, where thought structurally exceeds emotion. During systemic transitions, emotional volatility and algorithmic noise often paralyze decision-making. The W3D formula stabilizes these systems by ensuring thought governance remains intact. This makes W3D the hidden structure required for high-impact performance under pressure. In interpersonal relationships, the W3D equilibrium transforms volatility into a stable core where measured thought absorbs emotional reactive noise. Within corporate organizations, it guarantees goal stability by anchoring all leadership actions to an atomic why. At a national scale, this architecture actively converts the chaotic barrage of global information noise into pure, kinetic leadership energy. Nations fail to harness this energy when they isolate women using the metrics of consumerism or historical patriarchy. Treating these three dimensions as assets to be consumed leads to institutional collapse. Organizations thrive only when they recognize the 3D woman as the architect of singularity. Grasping this powerful framework intellectually is only the very first step toward achieving a true and lasting transition. You must operationalize this equilibrium into the very DNA of your systems. To forge the institutional solutions of tomorrow, you must return to these blueprints. Stop looking at the map and rebuild your logic. Rebuild your mind to embrace the core architecture of human potential. Come home to the power of the human atom.